I did want to ask you actually, just to start it off, what do you think about AI and like the AI digital art and stuff?
All I could say is I'm an old-fashioned girl. That's all I could say. Hands on the canvas.
So where do you think like art is going? Like how has art changed in your lifetime? How have you seen it like change and kind of like
My lifetime.
are there things that bothered you or anything?
In my lifetime, it has changed drastically, okay?
Uh-huh.
Because I have been creating art for 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so it has been fascinating to see, first of all, when I was creating artwork in the early 80s, I essentially needed to sell an original piece of work
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to, um, you know, gain income so that I could essentially buy more canvas.
Right.
And now, there are posters. I mean, I'm sure there were posters back then, but the quality I don't think was as good as it is now. There are Clay prints. There are Clay prints uh, on canvas, on metal. So an artist can essentially create a print
Mm-hmm.
and sell an original for what it is, what the value is of it. And if people either are not interested in buying an original because of price or size, then you have the option of acquiring a print.
Yeah.
So that for me is very important, a very important change in the art scene. The other one is social media, and
Right.
social media is wonderful. So, for instance, during the pandemic, during the quarantine, I I was concerned because of creating art and even coming to my studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I started to look online, and I would look at artists, and if there was a model that they drew that I was very interested in and inspired by, then I would then go to the model that was posing, go to their Instagram, and then they would share, oh, we're doing a live session, with on this day, on that day. And since some of them were in Europe, sometimes I would get up at 3 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
and so I met several artists and models during the pandemic, and I would do Zoom sessions, and that was fascinating to me because I had an outlet, and I also had a connection um, to other artists
Right.
and to other people that were going through the same um, you know
Like experience
yes, no, yeah, the same
during the
experience
pandemic. Yeah,
during the
I'm
pandemic. And
sure that was really hard.
so, oh yeah, it was very difficult. And I would leave my camera on while I would go step away and make dinner or
Mm-hmm.
lunch or breakfast.
Yeah.
And I could still hear people talking in my living room, and it was so wonderful to have that connection and to hear voices and um, have that interaction. So for me, that was really important. So had social media not been around at that time, I think it would have been more devastating,
Right.
for myself as an artist.
Definitely.
So that is a major change. The other thing is you can show a piece of artwork if somebody wants to collect it. You send them your Venmo, they pick it up, and then you just ship it to them or send it to them.
Yeah.
So there was several times when people would pick up a few pieces of art, and I'd leave it outside. And they'd come
Just to
pick it
pick it
up,
up.
you know.
That's cool.
So it has changed drastically, although I like the classic manner of creating art.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously, this is what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm glazing some ceramic bottles. So I I am a hands-on artist.
Yes.
And
Let's also introduce who you are. Can you introduce yourself with?
why, surely. My name is Yolanda Gonzalez,
Hmm.
and I'm a visual artist, a multidisciplinary. I create works on canvas, on paper, ceramics, sculpture, and multimedia works of art. So that's who I am.
And so, where are you from? I read a lot about you, but I'd like you to confirm everything.
So I am, I was born in Pasadena, California, and I was raised in Montebello, California.
Hmm.
And
So, you would consider Montebello your hometown?
yes, I
Yeah.
would. Yes, I would. Yes, Montebello. And I went to San Gabriel Mission High School.
That's the private school, right?
Yes, that's
Okay.
a private all girls school. And it was a wonderful school because the um, the art teacher that taught me, Dixie Coutant is her name. She essentially got me a scholarship to go to Art Center when I was a junior in high school.
Wow, that's crazy. So
And
did you get like a free ride to Art Center?
no, I mean, it was
Just a
that,
good amount.
there was that, and then there was the scholarship, and then I continued to take classes,
Hmm.
and so that for me was an eye opener because when I walked into Art Center, I realized, oh, this is why I'm different. Because my parent, my dad mainly was always questioning, like, why are you so different from your sisters? And then I realized, oh,
What were things that you would do? Like,
you really want to know. So some of the things as a young girl I would do was I was a cosmetologist,
mhm.
and so I had really big hair, and I would wear, I was a punk rocker and a heavy metaler, and um, I would wear red eyeliner and black lipstick or black lip liner,
Yeah.
and so I was always a little, kind of, I guess, a little different looking than my
Hmm.
sisters. They were more conservative,
Okay.
and so
So you were like the black sheep of the family.
yes, definitely, definitely. And so when I went to Art Center, I connected and with the other artists, and I felt an affinity, and I felt at home. So
Yeah,
it was wonderful. Yeah.
just felt right.
Hmm.
What's your background? Like ethnicity? Where
I'm a
your
Chicana artist. My
Uh-huh.
parents are from Mexico, Torreon, Coahuila,
Hmm.
and I am first generation um, here, and I'm a Chicana artist.
And what did you do, or what did you want to be when you were younger? Like, did you have an idea? Did you know you always wanted to be an artist
I think I always
in
wanted
some
to be,
form?
yes, I think I always wanted to be an artist. And yeah, I always wanted to be an artist. I always had a really great imagination. And so for a minute, I wanted to be a veterinarian of all things, which is really interesting.
Do you have any pets?
I don't. I don't even have a fish. So I don't know where the veterinarian thing came up, but I wanted to be, yeah, I wanted to be a
Do you just
veterinarian.
have like a love for animals or
I
creatures?
do.
Yeah,
I have
the
a
soft
love
side.
for animals and creatures, even human creatures.
Yeah,
Mm.
humans are very
There
interesting
could, yeah, there could
creatures.
be, yeah, definitely.
Who influenced you to do art? Or did you, it sounds like maybe you influenced yourself, but did anybody like show you the ropes or guide you?
Yes, absolutely. My grandmother, Mage Ibarra, uh, Mage Lopez Ibarra, sat me down when I was around 8 years old to
Mm,
paint. We went to Save On, and she got a oil paint set, and then she sat me down to paint, and we painted together. And after that, it just was never the same. I constantly thought about creating art, and I didn't really have an outlet to create
mm-hmm,
art because she didn't live with us or live, close to us.
mm-hmm.
And so I often, my sister, my elder sister who was into art would, get me these wonderful coloring books, and but nobody really, besides my aunt, my grandmother, sorry, sat me down to paint. And so that's when I went to mission, and the teacher asked me to draw she asked the class to draw a tree,
Hmm.
and I had kind of given up on creating art. By then I was already playing guitar. I was in a band.
Like a
All,
punk
it
band?
was an all-girl band, yeah, called Ask Any Girl. I don't know if we were punk. I guess
Okay.
we were probably progressive,
Okay.
but we were called Ask Any Girl, and I played the guitar. And actually, I'm starting to play guitar
Oh,
again,
good.
and want to getting a band together. So,
Nice. I'm learning how to play the drums so we can
oh my
we can
God,
jam
are you
sometime.
serious? Do you have a drum set?
No, but I'm taking some lessons. So, and I have like the pad, the
How good
practice
are
pad.
you?
No, I'm not good at all. I'm completely a beginner, but just wait for me.
Okay, yeah, because well, ideally, it would be great to have an all-girl band.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
So if there are any, yeah, any women musicians out there, I have a friend who's a bassist, and she
Uh-huh.
hasn't played bass in a minute. So I'm hoping that she gets gets going, because I just, yeah. And the interesting thing is, I dream that I'm jamming. I mean, I have these dreams where I'm just jamming hard on the guitar, and
Yeah.
I wake up and I'm thinking, oh God, I have to get a hold of my guitar and start playing. And I still have my guitar that my parents bought me when I was 15. They bought
Hmm.
me a Fender Telecaster Custom, natural, beautiful. But maybe that's what the custom means. But
Yeah.
it's absolutely beautiful. And then recently I bought a Gretsch, a red Gretsch, hollow body. So beautiful. Oh my God, it's such a beautiful guitar.
I'm so lost with what you're saying, but my boyfriend would totally be fascinated
Is
by
he a
all of it. He's a
guitarist?
guitarist, yeah.
Okay, yeah, he would understand. Yeah, he would understand. So,
So you were playing music, so you kind of lost some sight of your art for a little bit,
yes.
and then is that around the time you still wanted to be like maybe a veterinarian or
Yeah, I mean,
yeah?
I think, yeah, I was always interested in that.
Hmm.
And so, but the arts took over. The arts took
Yeah, of
over. The
course.
influences around me, my friends, they were, guitarists and musicians. So that just took over.
Something creative. You knew you were
Yes,
going to do
the
something creative.
creativity really just took over. And so I was just very inspired, and the at San Gabriel Mission High
Hmm.
School, the principal at that time wore high tops and played drums.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
I was so into that school. It was a wonderful school, and they were very supportive, and so I'm very thankful for that school and the nuns.
Do you ever go visit that school?
I've gone back, and I've donated artwork for fundraisers
Oh,
and stuff,
nice.
but it would be nice to take a little more time and go back.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I wanted to, when I was younger, I wanted to go to mission, because all my friends were going to mission or Sacred Heart,
Uh-huh.
and my parents couldn't afford to send me to mission, so I went to Alhambra High School.
Oh, well, Alhambra's good too.
Yeah, so my
Alhambra's
mom didn't want, because we live in Highland Park, so my mom didn't want me to go to Franklin, especially during that time. And
oh.
she said, "I don't want you to get pregnant." So she
Oh
said
my
she drove me all the way to Alhambra
God.
every
So okay,
single day.
What is it? Alhambra? What would they give out condoms? Well, I mean, what's the deal with Alhambra and Franklin? That
Franklin was just considered more of like a rowdy school during the time. Like Highland Park hadn't gone through gentrification yet, and she went to Franklin, and her and my dad went to Franklin together. So like she just,
did they have some background on
I
the
guess they were just
craziness?
like they probably knew how crazy everybody was there.
Okay, we'll leave it at that.
So she went out of her way, and like we used one of my friend's address, and we just every morning I had to go to Alhambra High School.
Oh, well, that's nice. I sometimes the folks know better.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
I think it was for the best, honestly.
yeah,
I probably could have turned out kind of crazier than I already am.
yeah.
But
Yeah, well, let's say hello to the crazy club, because I'm right there. I'm right there with you. I'm on in years, and it's not going to get into age, but yeah, I just um, crazy's good.
It is.
Crazy
I like
adds,
being different.
yeah, thank you. Different, unique,
Yeah.
creative. It just adds something to your life, you know.
It makes me like excited, and I'm always like entertained with myself. I
Hmm.
don't need people to entertain me because I can be in the car and just like completely be entertaining myself, throwing a whole concert
You're
and
so
like
great. Wait, so what sign are you?
sign?
Hmm.
I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, there you go. I'm
That's why.
Aquarius. I love Sagittarius. Yeah,
We got a lot of like fire in us.
yeah.
Um
Sagittarius is a good sign. And when is your birthday? It should be any minute now, right? We're in
it's
Scorpio. You were coming into Sagittarius in what?
yes. So
2 weeks.
I'm on the cusp. So I'm
Oh,
November 22nd. So I'm
oh,
part Scorpio, mostly Sagittarius.
that's great. Well, Sagittarius. I'm Aquarius, so I have all this. I have to be technically have a background in the signs. It just happens that way.
Yeah.
But Sagittarians, um, I've always thought of them as, the readers, the writers of the zodiac.
Ah, interesting.
So yeah, the singer of my band, my old band, Sagittarius. Yeah.
Nice. You still keep in touch?
Yes,
Cool.
we have a co-op here. It's her name's Diane
Hmm.
Darling Artifacts, and Edward Escamilla, who's Diane and I have been friends since we were 4 years old.
Oh,
We used to play Barbies
that's
together.
so cute.
Now my Barbie was a little wild thing,
Did you
okay?
cut your Barbie's hair?
Um,
Because I always did that.
we should have done like mohawks on them,
I
huh?
always cut my Barbie's hair.
That's funny, but they didn't have Pendletons for Ken.
Yeah.
What is that? They always had like these blue shirts, and so we should make you know, an OG Ken doll, right? And an
Yeah.
OG, we won't call him Ken, we'll call him something else,
Like, yeah, he'll be like a foo. Like
right?
a
Yeah, good. Yeah, we'll find yeah.
I was gonna ask you though, were you good at school, like math, English, all of the subjects, or were you? Because typically when you learn about or hear about artistic people, they usually will have like a story of like, oh, I struggled with these subjects and
Mm.
I like excelled at these subjects. Did you have certain subjects that you were really good at and really struggled at,
Mm. Oh,
or were you just good and smart all
no,
around?
no, 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 no. Mm-mm. I passed.
Okay.
Let's just say I passed. But that none of that interests me.
Mm-hmm.
None of that interests me. I guess I'm good at math because when I sell a piece of artwork, and um, I'm good at summing up everything in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that, but it didn't interest me. It didn't interest me.
Bored you?
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe if I had paid some more attention to science,
Mhm.
mm, literature. I think now as an adult, I'm more interested in literature. But I was a peculiar young girl. I was
Mhm.
very peculiar. I was very conservative.
Is that because like that was maybe like your culture, like your parents were raising you to be more like that, or yeah?
Possibly, but I was kind of. I guess I was the one that would get. Kind of, I was a pit of a lot of jokes when I was very young. They
Hmm.
call it bullying, I guess now, but
Yeah.
I don't want to be thought of as that. But it was difficult. I was very quiet. I was very introverted. I guess that's the same thing. Um, and it wasn't easy. I really wasn't an attractive little girl, and I didn't have a personality. Those things have changed drastically.
Yeah. You have like you're just a whole personality right now.
So I think something happened, and I don't know what happened, but I guess I found myself, and I think perhaps
That's
I found
important.
myself through art, and so my life is very blessed, and I'm very thankful that the little girl that dreamt about having a magical life
Yeah.
manifested what she wanted.
Oh, that's so
So
sweet.
I think it's important to I think it's important to honor the children, to honor the children, to honor their desires and their thoughts, and also to honor our own, of course,
Mhm.
and then also to honor the senior citizens. So
Yeah.
children and senior citizens for me have a soft spot for them,
Yeah.
because I think sometimes they're the age group that are somehow kind of passed by.
Right.
Oh, he's only 8. What does he know?
Like
What does she know?
ignored
Like,
and not thought of. Yeah.
oh, they're only, they're 80, or oh, they're 90, or oh, they're, I have a friend who I think her mom's 102.
Mhm.
She treats her so well. It's a lovely relationship. But I think that, and even coming out of a pandemic, there's trauma. There's a lot of trauma that we have. And so I think if we could be, loving to ourselves and to each other.
Mhm.
By the way, I'm painting. I have a deadline, and so I feel
So
like
you're
I'm
multitasking right now.
multitasking, and this is really interesting because this is just what I do.
Yeah.
So
And I think it's important to show also what you're doing. So
yes, just so you don't think I'm sitting here on
just
my
like
phone. She's
ignoring me.
texting while she's talking. No, no.
I was gonna ask you about like healing your inner child.
Oh,
Do
that's a good one.
do you feel like you're doing that with art? Like,
Um, absolutely,
yes.
absolutely, 100%. Again, um, I guess I guess to keep it light,
Mhm.
I would say my childhood was difficult. It was painful, sometimes traumatic. And so, again, I promised myself as a little girl that I would have a magical life and take
Hmm.
care of myself. And I do know that when situations get difficult for me, whatever it is, whatever kind of a situation, because life is not, all peachy, right?
Right.
That when I when I create art, when I turn to art, I'm completely happy, healed, and 100%. So art, yes, definitely art has healed me and has traveled me around the world, has paid for my homes and where I live, my studios, my transportation, my desires. And so art is my love.
Yeah.
Art is my number one love. I consider it a relationship. It's a marriage to me.
Mhm.
My art, my creativity, my process is a marriage that I take very seriously because it cares for me in such a absolutely beautiful manner.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. I mean, I think that your art is just it's very loud.
Mhm.
And so it's interesting that you're saying that when you were growing up you were very quiet because I think I used to paint at some point in my life and whenever I would paint, I would always gravitate towards like vibrant colors and bright colors, but I was a quiet person myself. So I think it's funny how like internally we express like who we are and how we are through art. And I think that's a beautiful thing,
Yes,
you know?
it's expression, creativity, creation, and I really believe that art heals the universe. I really believe that art and the process and the creation of art
Mhm.
is one of um, meditation or prayer.
True.
And the ritual for me brings some healing to the universe, to the world.
Right.
Yeah.
What's your creative process like when you decide you're going to start a new piece? Like what are you thinking? Do you just usually like jump into it or what does that look like?
It's different. I'm reading a book of Lucian Freud, who's an amazing artist that I admire, and I love his work. And I was really excited when I read the paragraph that each creation, each time he begins a new work of art, it starts differently.
Mhm.
So there's no method. I think it just so for me it's sometimes that it's on the table, it's on an easel, it's prepared paper, it's unprepared paper, it's prepared canvas, it's unprepared canvas, it's because I work and I hand build my own clay, and because I think it's all different. The clay probably has more preparation because I make slabs,
Mm-hmm.
and so that takes time, and then you have to wait for the slab to become a certain consistency. So I think my process is to what I'm trying to think of a really good analogy, or um, I think my process is plainly just to create.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to create, whatever that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just more in the moment, spontaneous. Yeah. I mean, what's your favorite, like, what do they use? Medium to use?
Um,
Do you have one?
I have three. I have ceramics,
Mm-hmm.
I have watercolor, and acrylic.
Okay.
And the acrylic could be on wood, on paper, on canvas, on ceramic handbags. So, and the watercolor is always mostly on paper because that's how it works better. It
Right.
the process is more complete on paper.
What's your opinion on artists that use oil-based paint and artists that use acrylic? Have you ever heard of that? Like, there's like a comparison that some people feel like they're more superior if they're using oil-based paint. Have you
Huh.
ever heard of that?
Well, okay, oil paint is a classic paint,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Um, but I find that they both have their good qualities. And I think for me, the oil paint, because tend to have some different chemicals in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would rather work with acrylic. But I feel that I really don't have time to debate about acrylic or oil, right? Like, if you want to have a debate, go ahead, enjoy yourself,
Yeah.
have a wonderful debate about it. I just want to paint,
Yeah.
and my medium happens to be acrylic.
And I think acrylic gets the job done. Acrylic is more efficient in my opinion. I like using acrylic and
Yeah, I don't know if I would use the word efficient, but I know that um, I enjoy it.
okay. Yeah.
And if I really like, I haven't used oil in a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
but interesting enough, I in the last year or so, I purchased a lot of oil sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever used oil sticks?
Mm-mm.
So it's oil paint, but it's concentrated with wax in a stick.
Okay.
So it's for me, I find it very exciting. So I have oil sticks, and then I bought some mediums that have the company that does these particular mediums and solvents that you would mix with the oil
Mm-hmm.
are what's the word? Hold on, lavender, has lavender in it, and so it's very environmentally friendly.
Okay.
So I'm very excited about that, and I am going to do a series with that.
Well, fun.
So when I work with those, I'll get back to you and let you
Okay.
know. But I don't, I think that people who create, whatever medium they create in, like I have a niece, and she creates a lot on the computer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's whatever inspires you.
True.
There's no, I don't think there's a right or there's a wrong or there's a better or there's a worse. I think it's whatever inspires you to do what you do, and in any kind of creative form,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be knitting or crocheting or painting or,
Music.
yes, music. I think it's all beautiful.
Yeah,
Express yourself.
definitely. As
Mm,
long as you're not hurting anybody, right? I
exactly.
think
Yeah.
that's the important part. And I think more people need to express themselves through some artistic form to kind of get out of your head.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, right?
yeah, yeah. There's always that part, trying to get out of your head. Yes.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of people experience just like trauma throughout their life, and I think art helps with either expressing yourself when sometimes you can't talk about it or you don't know how to talk about it. You can put it in art form, and someone else can relate to it. And somehow that's healing, you know?
100%. Yeah, 100%. It definitely is a healing process. And I have a friend who, when they're touching clay, say, "Oh my God, why does this feel so good?" Well, because clay is from the earth,
Right.
and I think that there are different senses in life that we have that are healing to us, that are beautiful. I do swimming aerobics 6 days a week. I love
Yeah.
the water. And I was thinking, like, I'm not a water sign. Why would I love the water? But because Aquarius is the water bearer,
Hmm.
then I thought, okay, there's the connection. Um, but when I swim, I sometimes think of the womb and the healing of the water,
Right.
and I find that's so beautiful. So I
Yeah.
think if we look at life in a creative manner and in a healing manner, it's very important.
Yes. And I think that's also another way to just like be gentle with yourself, with your body, with like your
Yes,
mind. Just
yes.
not, I think we need to like slow down sometimes. Well, at least I do.
Yes, no, I agree with you, and I think, even, I mean, I know I'm much older than you are, and I think looking at my age and going, okay, you're not in your 20s anymore, or your 30s, or your 40s for that matter.
Hmm.
Um, you need to slow down, and you need to give yourself a chance to, regain, energize yourself,
Hmm.
and it's important. Is it easy to wrap my head around? No, because I want to paint 10 paintings a day. Does my body allow me to? Not anymore. I
You used to be able to paint 10
okay, maybe
paintings a
eight,
day?
maybe 8 paintings a
That's
day.
wild.
But the thing is that um life changes,
Hmm.
and when you're young, you think you're going to be young forever. I don't mean to scare you.
No, I feel back pain like on a daily basis. I'm like, what the hell happened between my 20s and my 30s?
Yeah. Yeah. And so and the thing is when you're your age, it's good to look at that and say, what can I do for that back pain, right?
Hmm.
Yoga, stretching, or whatever,
Right.
whatever, to be proactive now. So now I'm swimming 6 days a week to be proactive for when I'm 60 and when I'm 70 and
Right.
when I'm 80, because I want to be able to paint
Hmm.
for the rest of my life. And I also want to be able to travel with
Yeah.
my artwork all over the world. And, so you have to take that into account. And I'm telling you, as an older lady, as an older woman,
Hmm.
wise older woman.
Yes. You're so old. And you don't, by the way, like, I know you're joking, but like, you don't seem old. You don't look old. Like,
Thank
I
you.
think it's all just like a mindset, right?
It's a mindset. Yeah. I never had children.
That's probably why you look so great.
Yeah, I don't have any worries. I don't have any worries. I'm not worried about, like, what time are they coming home? Where are they? What are they doing? Where are they at?
Hmm. Have you ever experienced any art blocks or artistic,
No,
like creative? Really?
never,
Never.
never.
What the hell?
It doesn't
You're
stop
like a
with me.
beast.
It doesn't stop with me. It does not stop. And I cannot paint fast enough and create. I can't create fast enough. I just can't. And I'm so thankful.
Hmm.
Yeah, I am so thankful. I think if I ever had a lull, um, may have been, well, maybe not though, because I had a hip and a knee replacement, and the next day I was drawing models from England in my hospital bed with my watercolors all set out, painting. So I don't, nothing's gonna stop me now.
Have you ever thought about it, or questioned if you were going to not be an artist?
Never,
Never. It's
never,
never crossed your
no,
mind.
no,
Never doubted yourself.
never,
That's amazing.
never, no. I am 100% um, obsessed with art and the creation of art.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. I am obsessed. It's like, I mean, look, we're talking, and I'm
You're
working.
still, yeah, you're
You
still
know,
working.
so
And I'm
great.
sure it doesn't feel, does it ever feel like work to you or
No,
no?
it's not. It's not work. I probably shouldn't even call it work, but I have to call it work, I guess, because then then everybody can say, "What are you just playing all day? Is that what you do? You just play all day?" It's pretty much what I do is I play all day. But no, it's not work. It's
I
it's creation. It's beauty. It's yeah.
Why do you think that might be, like, that you've never doubted yourself? You've heard of artists that have, like, doubted themselves or considered, like, not doing art. What do you think, like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think everybody, first of all, everybody has their own path, right?
Right.
Everybody has. I mean, because there's other stuff that I think about and I'm like, oh my God. And for somebody else it would be so normal, right? So easy to do.
Mhm.
Um but why have I never, because it's all I have.
That's beautiful.
It's all I have. It's really, that's me. I yeah, yeah.
What does it feel like to have your art, like, appreciated all over the world? Or,
Uh
like, what does it feel like when you're traveling around the world, to display your art?
it feels amazing.
Yeah.
It feels amazing. It feels I'm very honored. I'm very honored and blessed and thankful to have those opportunities. You know, I just took down a show at the Museum of Latin American
Mhm.
Art in June,
Mhm.
and it was I think it was 5 months, and it was 2 rooms, and I was right next to Fernando Botero,
Mhm.
who may God rest his soul. He just passed away recently, and to see 40 years of artwork in a museum, in 2 rooms in a museum. And I walked in the opening night and I was floored. And I looked at the work and I thought, who is this woman? Who is this person who created all this work throughout the 40 years? And, um, and then I went and partied. We had a great party. It was Quetzal, the band, the Grammy-winning band Quetzal came and
Mhm.
played, and there was probably about 250, 280 people there. And it was actually the first time after the quarantine that I took my mask off. And
Oh, really?
it was the first time I was in public without a mask.
Okay.
I rarely took off my mask when there was groups of people,
Mhm.
and even in the museum when I'd go and I was hanging my show, I would try to keep my mask on.
Mhm.
And so um, it was very interesting to me because people would come up to me to hug me, and I'd back off because I just was no longer
Yeah.
used to having human
Right.
contact. Um, so it was interesting. It was very interesting. Yes.
What do you think, like, what was you've had to build a community in your own art world, right?
Yes.
And so have you always had, like, your culture kind of involved in that community?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I think it's very important. I've taught at Inner City Arts,
Mhm.
which is a nonprofit organization in the inner city.
Mhm.
I've taught at Para los Niños. Um, and then several other places I've taught.
What do these have in common for you? What do they mean to you?
Well, and then I also taught at Ultimate for the senior citizens. It means connection to the community,
Mhm.
and it means sharing the gift of art and healing at the same time.
Mhm.
So for me, it was very important to do. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And just to probably, like, give back too, right?
I think there's definitely always that aspect for me is giving back.
Mhm.
That's a very important part of being an artist is giving back. Absolutely.
Do you think you're, like, being a Chicana, do you think your people have helped you get up to this point of being a successful artist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that, I mean, at my museum exhibition, when I was up at the podium speaking, I looked at everybody and I said, I'm here because of you.
Yeah.
These paintings are you. These paintings are my culture and my
Mhm.
people, my friends, my family, my patrons, and you know, even my doctors were there. My general practitioner,
Oh.
my surgeon who's done my hip and knee replacement.
Mhm.
They were there, and it was thanks to them because they've healed me, they've loved me, they've laughed with me, we've
Right.
partied, we've danced, and those paintings consist of all the support that they've given me.
Mhm.
Couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Who are some artists that you look up to or used to look up to at some point? Do you have people like certain artists that have inspired you?
Yes, definitely my grandmother and my great grandfather.
Mhm.
Um,
Because your family has a background of artists, right?
it's 150, probably more years of art.
Mhm.
Some we have drawings from 1877
Wow.
from my great grandfather, beautiful drawings on paper, and my grandmother paintings from my grandmother. She was also a pianist, so I
Mhm.
have the piano. I inherited her piano, which is in the other room,
Mhm.
and so they were huge influences. I would say my grandmother was the first influence I had,
Mhm.
and then I love Van Gogh. I've
Classics.
always loved, yeah, I've always loved Van Gogh. And then it just goes on and on from there. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You have a connection with Frida?
Um, do I have a connection
Or
with
do
her?
you have you ever has she ever inspired you or
Oh,
like do you,
yes, of course. I think, I mean,
I feel like there's a little bit some similarities, not exactly in like your paintings, just like I don't know, there's like a vibe.
we got that Frida vibe going
Yeah.
on. I think, she's so, her work is amazing. I think
Hmm.
her work is amazing. But I think they've really just,
Diluted her.
yes, and abused,
Yes,
her
agreed.
originality and her. I don't think. I mean, okay, so would Frida like it? Would Frida like, all the commercial
Hmm.
objects and that I don't know, would she like that? I'm wondering. That's a thought, right? Would
Yeah,
she have
true.
would she have enjoyed that? Although I did really enjoy I did really enjoy having buttons made of myself. They were the cutest little buttons that the Mola made of myself. Yeah, so
Hmm.
um definitely, yes, definitely she was an inspiration,
Hmm.
definitely. But there are so many. There are
Right.
so many artists. I
I'm
mean, when
sure.
I'm on Instagram, I'm constantly looking for artists and what are they doing and being inspired. And a lot
Hmm.
of the young artists, oh my God, the mediums that they're using and the way they're using them and combining them, I find inspiring and absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, there's a lot of like, the internet's really cool because you get to see how everyone's being creative and what they're
Hmm.
doing. And a lot of times they'll show you a video on how they're doing it too.
Hmm.
Um, but it's interesting that you say that. This is kind of off the subject, but like I also agree the same thing, the same way you feel about Frida, like I also feel about Selena.
Hmm.
She's also over like I don't know, just I think like at this point, not that we should like forget about her. There's no way I'm saying that. It's
Mm.
just more like everyone's making money off of her death, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And it's like,
What a tragedy,
right?
right? That's a
And I
tragedy.
just feel like nobody lets her rest.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
Such a waste. Oh my God, that's just horrible.
Yeah, supposedly the Yolanda, the one that killed her, like
I hate that she has my name. I do. I just hate it. I was like, oh God. Mm.
Supposedly she's getting out of jail soon or prison.
Good luck to her.
Yeah, right. What are some themes you like to explore in your art?
Um, Humanity, femininity, masculinity, our environment, people, the relationships between people,
Mm-hmm.
love, compassion, just life, the zest for life. Zest for life. I believe that there is enough negativity in the world. And
Yes.
I try to um, create portraits of beauty and hope. I really do. I try to, and there is pain. There is pain with
Mm-hmm.
that, and there is trauma, but I feel that if I can bring some beauty to the world, then I think um, I'm doing my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whenever like I see your art, it's just like so calm to look at.
Mm.
It's just like a calm feeling when you're looking at your art. Can you explain Metamorphosis 1 and 2?
Yes.
What are
So
the messages?
the metamorphosis. So I was doing a residency in Japan,
Mm-hmm.
artist in residency. I was living in Japan, and there was a very dear woman, Sala Coffin, who was a dear friend of mine's mother was passing away,
Mm-hmm.
and I left. She was very ill, and I left, and I thought, oh God, do I leave? Do I stay? And I decided to go to Japan and do my residency, and I came back. She was very ill, and shortly after, she passed away. And so the time that I spent in Japan and coming back and um, having her pass away, I thought, okay, what happens? Death is like taking color away from an artist.
Right.
It's taking, and so I thought, what happens to a Chicana artist when you take the color away from her? And those spiraling figures started coming out in black and white and grays.
Mm.
And so I think those pieces are a form of mourning the loss of Sala, mourning the loss of life. Because until then, I think I'd only maybe lost two people. I was 29 or 30, 29.
Mm-hmm.
I'd only known the loss of two people in my life. And I think at that point, I realized and I started to think about mortality. And I started to think about as I got older, I would lose more people. And the, the concept of death, and there are certain concepts in my life that I can't compute. I just can't grasp.
Mm-hmm.
So the metamorphoses are about the losses in life, the losses that we have.
Right.
And those pieces were created with a lot of tears, a lot of energy, a lot of sad energy, a lot of intense energy. They're very intense pieces.
Yeah.
Um, and so recently, I lost my dad like maybe 15 years ago, but recently I lost my mom
Mm-hmm.
right before the pandemic of
I'm
all
sorry
things.
for your loss.
Thank you. Um, and so I created some more metamorphosis for her. And again, just devastated by her loss. And I think finally it's going to be 4 years. Yeah, 4 years in January that she passed. And I'm finally coming to grips with it. And I'm finally allowing myself to live again.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe that she took a part of me with her. She definitely took a part of who I was with her.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely, I'll just never be the same.
Yeah. Mm. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
If you'd like, we can also take this out. Um, I know this is probably really emotional, and I don't know if you're ready to like talk about that and
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think loss is a part of life. It's just, you know.
Yeah. I know. I'm constantly like just having this anxiety that I know I can't have my parents forever. And it's just like so devastating and heartbreaking to me, and just like getting older and realizing that.
Yeah. It's yeah. I would I would tell everybody to enjoy your parents
Right.
while you can.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter to what degree, or it's just yeah, because yeah.
You know, it's interesting that you say like a part of you died with her.
Hmm.
Like in another way to look at that, I think she's also living through you, which is
Mm-hmm.
also like kind of beautiful too.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way to think of it. And her name is Yolanda.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So we're kind of ending
okay.
here.
Okay.
Um, but we still have like a couple minutes left. Um, do you have any advice to give to future artists or people that are interested in pursuing art as just a full-time thing?
Hmm. Well, I think that art, there's a lot of art out there. There's a lot of people creating art.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people creating art for different reasons. And I think if you can create art for you, you don't create art to sell. Uh, you don't create art with ego.
Hmm.
It's the purest form of creation. So just be honest with yourself. Like, why do you really want to create art?
Hmm.
And just create it. Just create it. That's the best advice I could give you, because somebody asked me, well, what kind of art sells? And I said, the kind of art you create without thinking about selling it. You know,
True.
you just, it's such a sacred process, for me,
Hmm.
anyways. So I would say just to really be true to yourself as an artist, um, and create what you want to create.
Hmm. And then I'm going to ask one last question. What would you like your art to be remembered
I
as?
thought
Or
you
what
were going to say, what would you like to be when you grow up? I'm thinking, oh, that's a really good question. I'm
what
sorry.
would you like to be when you grow up?
What would I like my art? What was the
To be
question?
remembered, like how would you like your art to be conveyed? And what messages do you hope that your art gives when one day you're no longer on this earth?
Um, uh, I guess the number one thing would be that she created with her heart and her soul. I had a sense of humor.
Hmm.
This artist had a sense of humor. She worked a lot. She was very true to her art, and I think if people see my art, um, and I'm thinking, with technology, maybe somebody will be watching this 100 years down the line,
Yeah.
and um, I just I guess my art wants to convey to live life to the fullest, whatever that means for you.
Hmm.
If you know me, I live hard, I laugh hard, and I love even harder. So just love, let your heart be filled with love and give love. I've had a lot of struggles in my life, but the one thing I've done is um, is really protect my heart. I really protect my little heart, and still still somewhat young, and it still has dreams and hopes, and so I hope that my art has touched you, and I hope that in whatever fashion you enjoy the creative process.
That's a good way to end this, actually. Is there where can we find you? Social media, website?
My Instagram is Yolanda Gonzalez Art. And I don't really, I think my Twitter's the same, but I don't really, I just don't have the time, right?
Yeah.
And then my website is yolandagonzalez.com.
And do you have any events coming up? Do you have any
Yeah, if you go on yolandagonzalez.com,
hmm
it'll say events because
Okay.
I know that this will be on for the future. So
Yeah.
um, come in, come and visit me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you very
Would
much for
you be
doing this.
back on another
I
episode?
would be back.
Yeah.
We should do another episode in a year
Yeah.
or, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Thank you,
cool.
Alexis. I really appreciate this.
Yes.
And it
Thank
was
you for
lovely
doing
meeting you and
this.
seeing you again
By any chance,
and
were you
chismeando.
talking about your life and how great you are?
Oh, thank you.
Um,
Thank you. Likewise.
oh, thank you so much. Were you nervous at all to do this?
No.
Okay, perfect.
I've been doing this
Too long.
for probably 35, 40 years, and I've done it all over the
Yeah.
world. And I lectured in Spain and got newspaper and TV, and I think it's just a beautiful way to connect.
Yeah,
And I hope that
I agree.
I just think it's a beautiful way to connect. And what more could we do as humans is to connect and touch, and love each other.
Yes, and with just like this whole new world that we're experiencing, just everything's on the phone. I think having conversations with people is important.
Yeah, conversations
You
and
know?
interaction is very important. And I
hmm
think we learned that after the pandemic.
Exactly. Still traumatized from that.
Jesus, that was what? Oh God. But yes, thank God
It's
it's
over
over. Yeah,
for now.
for now. It's over. Period. Delete, delete, delete. Not for now. It's over.
Okay. Thank you.
Ta-ta.